Hi guys, my name is Chase Arevalo, and in this video, I'm going to break down for you if online training even makes sense for you and how to increase your UTR. Okay, in this video, we're going to discuss how to fix your mentality, how to actually improve your game and make your training better, and how to actually make sure that you're actually getting tournament results and how to be adjusting things based on that. Okay, here's the deal, okay? This method is only going to work for you, and online training is only gonna make sense for you if you fit this criteria, okay? So number one, you gotta be above a 4 UTR. So I've worked with hundreds of players, and what I've found is if you're below a 4 UTR, online training usually doesn't typically make sense because of a few things, okay? Number one, you probably haven't even started playing tournaments, and you probably haven't even tried in-person coaching yet, okay? At least to the level necessary to benefit significantly from online training, okay? So if you're a total beginner, if you're just starting to play tennis, I'm sorry, but you might want to click off this video. It's just not for you, okay? Okay, so this video is for serious tournament players who have already tried in-person training. They've been doing that for years, most likely, and they've already competed in tournaments, multiple tournaments per month, and they're still kind of stuck, right? And there's usually a few things that they're missing, and I want to help you kind of identify if those are happening in your current situation. So number one, you can be aware, and then after that, now you can take actions to actually adjust, okay, and actually get better. I'm going to assume that you're already using in-person coaches to some level. Maybe you're doing group training, maybe you're in a local academy, maybe you have a private coach you see 1 to 2 times a week. And I'm gonna break down for you like some of the common flaws and really like what might be missing for you. Number one main thing that you want to look for in your training right now is one thing mainly. Are you actually tracking certain things, or are you just guessing? Now, how do you really know if you're tracking, if your coaches are tracking, or if you're even measuring anything? The main thing to look for is, okay, are your coaches right now providing you a written down, customized training plan? Now, why would you even need this? With anything, in business, in school, in life, okay, what gets measured gets improved. So if you want to measure something, the first step is let's actually be aware of like what actions we're taking so we can measure short term, near term, long term, if we're actually improving. So here's the deal. Most likely your coaches are probably not actually writing any actual plan down for you. And it probably looks like something like this. You show up to practice, you kind of report to them, how your tournament went. Okay, my forehand was great. My backhand felt terrible. Okay, great. So let's work on some backhands. Awesome. That's great. But that's kind of like very rudimentary. Okay, that's very like basic. And if you're just starting, that's better than nothing. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's just kind of like the surface. Okay. If you want to start improving faster, you're going to want to have your coach actually provide you a written down plan so that on the 5 or 6 days where you're not seeing that coach in person, okay, they can actually provide to you with clarity, with full clarity, exactly what you actually have to do each day to work on the themes and the goals that you set out to accomplish that week. This is something that when I was going through the junior journey, growing up, something that no one provided. This is not standard in the tennis world. And, as I got older, I found that extremely problematic. And what I'll do for you right now is I'll actually just give you kind of a quick breakdown of my background, just so you have some clarity on kind of who I am and what I'm about, okay? So I played Division I tennis at Georgia Southern University. And after that, I was mentored by Nick Bollettieri at the IMG Academy, where I coached for a brief period of time. And then after that, I had the opportunity to actually move down to more South Florida and move to Boca Raton, where I would be mentored by tennis legend Rick Macy. And I actually started working there. And after 6 months, Rick Macy promoted me to become one of the directors of his academy. While I was there, I also started this hybrid model of training where all the in-person players I was working with doing lessons, I also started monitoring their match play. We would record their match play footage, and then I would provide to them custom training plans based on exactly what I saw them apply in tournament play. And we'll touch more on that later, okay? But basically, I started building my social media presence online, and I had the goal to actually start working with players not only in my own area, but also around the country, so I could actually help more players. And now I actually help players all around the world, okay? Now, I also want to take it back to when I was 10 years old, okay? So when I was 10 years old, I actually co-founded a tennis lesson business with my brother in Arlington, Virginia, which is where I'm from. And the way I started that was actually through volunteer work. So when I was growing up, I was training at this academy in College Park, Maryland, called the Junior Tennis Champion Center. And there we actually had this program called the Game On Initiative, where we would provide training for underprivileged communities in the Washington, D.C. area and Maryland area. And I loved it. You know, I realized I was actually like pretty good at it. And it was just great working with people and helping others. I just loved it. So what I decided to do was my brother and I was 10 years old, and we decided to start a local business in the Arlington, Virginia area, where I would first start mentoring like 5 and 6 year olds and really just kind of help them with the knowledge I had at the time, which obviously wasn't a ton at the time, but it was still enough to provide value to 5 and 6 year olds, right? So what I did was I started teaching lessons for absolutely free and would just say, hey, like take a lesson for free. And if you like it, I'll charge you like 20 bucks or something after for our next lessons. And, you know, for those first few years, never had a client, never take more lessons. So just started building that up in person in the Arlington, Virginia area. And I really focused on that from the ages of 10 until 16. Now, why did I do that? 10 years old coaching? Are you insane? Are you crazy? What are you doing? Why aren't you playing? Well, the tough part about my journey growing up was I faced a lot of injuries from the ages of 10 until 16 and a half when I got healthy. So from those ages, I really focused on like helping others and focusing on this in-person business as well as school, obviously. And then once I hit the ages of 16 and a half, I got fully healthy and I wanted to take that next step in my game and commit fully to tennis, okay? Because my goal was I wanted to achieve my dream of playing Division I tennis. And look, I was simply not on track, okay? So what did I do? Okay, I decided to go all in on my journey and I really didn't have that much time. So luckily I was able to figure out how to improve my UTR by 1 point, actually over 1 point within a 3-month period where I went from around a 9 UTR to about a 10.5 UTR in less than 3 months, okay? So not only have I done this for hundreds of other players now, but it all started when I first transformed my own game, okay? So after that, I achieved my dream of playing D1 tennis, did that for a few years. And then, like I said, coached at IMG Academy and was a standout there. And then after that, I was mentored by Rick Macy, like I mentioned, okay? Then after 2 years working for Rick, learned so much there. It was a tremendous experience. I'm so grateful for that opportunity. But my dream was always to build out my own program. And I wanted to solve the problem that really no one is solving in the tennis world. So I had to make a decision. I'm going to create that program and I'm going to help my past self and all those hundreds and probably thousands of players around the world who are also struggling with exactly the same things that I did. Yeah, that's just kind of a little breakdown of my background, okay? So now I want to get back to you specifically, okay? So we talked about the training component, okay? The first step is make sure you're actually tracking things, okay, and actually have a plan. And like I mentioned, this is standard in other sports. This is standard in basically every other industry. So why is it not happening in tennis? Literally, I was in college studying investments, a little bit of my background there. And we're learning all about metrics, learning how to value companies, PE ratio, return on equity, debt to equity ratio, all these different metrics to value companies. And it got me thinking, like, why are there no metrics that people are looking at in tennis? Right? And look, there are great metrics like UTR, which measures your tournament success if you're competing consistently, okay? But there were no other metrics and like real objective goals to shoot for on a daily basis, which to me was kind of crazy, right? So I wanted to provide that for others, right? So the first thing that you need to check for is make sure you have your coaches actually provide to you a written down training plan that's not just all up in their head. Okay, that's number one. Number two, this is a big ticket item for you if you're a serious tournament player, okay, is you need to record your match play footage, and then your coach needs to base what they're actually adjusting in your training plan based on what the expert actually sees in the match play footage, okay? It's not good enough for you, the player, to go and report to your coach, hey coach, this is what I saw in my game. Because look, maybe you're an incredible coach and maybe you're a genius tennis mind, but I hate to break it to you, you're probably not a world-class coach. That's probably safe to say. And if you're genuine, you probably would agree with that, right? So you want to have the expert who you're probably paying already to customize the actual training plan based on what you're doing in the tournament play. Okay, so this is currently what's happening at most academies, most clubs around the world. And this is why a ton of players are now coming to programs like my own to actually have this more modern style of training, okay? So here's the deal, okay? I want you to go and kind of figure this out. Like, okay, right now with my current situation, do I have a custom training plan? I don't have a custom training plan. Okay, wait. Why do I not have that? Are you paying a coach? If you're paying a coach right now, you should be having that. If you're a serious player, okay? And number two, is your coach watching your tournament footage, your match play, not your practice matches, your actual match play, to then go in and customize your training plan? Because then you can have the revolving door of quick feedback to actually improve. So those are two things that you can do to automatically get yourself more on track for that D1 level. The cherry on top is implementing online training. Now, why is online training the solution that literally you're exactly looking for? It's very simple. Because you want more support from a world-class coach. Here's the deal. You're probably already working with a coach or some trainers in person, maybe a few times a week. Maybe you're doing group training, right? But what happens outside of the hour private lesson you have? Is your coach reaching out to you? Are you able to ask your coaches unlimited questions? Are you able to send them video and get quick feedback? Are you able to jump on a quick Zoom call with your coach and talk out some limiting beliefs? Or do you have to wait for that next week to kind of get the ball rolling again? Or that next session? So everybody has different rates that they want to improve. And what I found, like the players who like love to work with me are the ones who are really curious, the ones who are really ambitious, and the ones who they want a coach who they can kind of put everything into, right? Where they can go in and they can send me a lot of footage. They can ask a lot of questions, right? The players I love to work with are the ones who are almost sending me like too much footage. Like that's a great thing. I love when players come to me and they're sending me all their match play footage. They're sending me some practice footage. They're sending me their serve footage. They're sending me their jump rope footage. So if these are some things that like resonate with you and you're like, I wish I had that. I wish I had a mentor who's literally been there in my exact same shoes, has not only accomplished my goal and my dream of playing D1, but has been mentored by the best American coaches in history and want to be mentored by someone who created a new solution and is really the pioneer in the modern tennis coaching space. If this is something that you want to kind of learn more about and see if you're a good fit, then what we can do is you can message me on Instagram, okay? Just send me 3 letters, UTR, and I can see if it's a good fit to work together, right? Now, if you don't fit the criteria that I mentioned in this video, don't waste your time. It's probably not a good fit for you, okay? And I will say my program isn't some cheap $100 program. So if you're not already currently investing heavily into your training, this program is simply not for you. Okay. My family has invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, putting me through the best academies and the best in-person training while I was growing up. And I still didn't have the solutions that I needed. Okay, so I know exactly like what it feels like to kind of be a number in the academy machine and kind of the coaching machine. And I want to provide that solution for players, okay, who are in that same boat.